Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Onward to Victory podcast recap. After a pretty damning night for this Mason team and this fan base, Mason loses 72 to 52 to VCU on the road. We knew this was going to be a tough game. We said this was going to be a tough game, and in the end, it was just not good enough. It was just not good enough for what I think we expect this team to be. It was a weird game from the kick. Late news, of course, was that Ronnie Polite was going to be held from the game due to a lower body injury. It was weird in the fact that he was dressed. He was not playing. I'm sure we'll hear more from Coach English on that in the coming days, but no Ronnie Polite. This team has struggled without Polite. Devin Dinkins, of course, got the start at the point guard position. It started okay and went okay for about the first 4 minutes, and then it was downhill from there. It's hard to say what went wrong when a lot of things went wrong. Or I think the biggest thing is that, which has been unlike this Mason team this year, is that they just got completely blown by on the rebounding aspect. VCU rebounded us, I think, 36 to 24, something along those lines. It was not good. It was not a good game. It was not a well played game. It did not look like this team wanted to be there. Players did not play like they wanted to be there. Other than, I would argue, Oduro, Fernandez, and Dinkins. To an extent, I don't know if they played like they wanted to play there. The energy levels, at the very least, were just not good. I guess there are positives. I would say the play of the freshmen. I would say the play of Fernandez and Dinkins. I thought were positive. I thought that Oduro kind of kept playing well. I think him continuing to play well, I think that's just a positive thing in general in itself. If he's continuing to play well, I think that's a good thing in its own right that he's continuing to play well. That's good in my opinion. So as long as that continues to happen, that's going to be a very positive thing. That's going to be a very good thing. And that can be built off on. But there is no denying that this is it's just a deflating loss. And we hope, if you were on the spaces last night, you heard from people, it was a lot of negative. It's not deserved. I think there were a lot of people. I don't think it's the fact that we lost this game. I want to point that out. I don't think it's the fact that we lost this game that this is bad. I think it's the fact that we lost this game by as bad as it was. I think if we had lost by 7, as I predicted 72 to 65 VCU in the preview podcast. When you're watching this back and you see us lose by 20, and it's not like 86 to 66, or at least you scored some points. It was just it was 72 to 52. You know, that's just unacceptable. It's not an acceptable thing, I think, in the eyes of this coaching staff. I know it's not. I know the staff is not happy, and the fan base isn't happy. No one should be happy with how this game ended. And yeah, I think the problem is, again, like, it feels like with this team, it's one step forward and then, like, boom, 2 steps back. Calibrate my thoughts here. Like I said, Josh Oduro led the way for the Patriots with 19 points. That was about as good as probably you can hope for in a game like this. He was the only one who really put up anything productive on offense. Like I said, there were flashes from Dinkins and Fernandez. I thought this game, I think we as a fan base like seeing them play more. We like when we see them play more. We enjoy that. You've enjoyed how that looks and how that plays. 8 points from Dinkins, 7 from Fernandez. Victor Bailey came in with 12, including 3 3-pointers. I don't think people are gonna hate that, but man, I do have to talk about Davon Cooper here a little bit. I've been happy with Cooper for the most part this season. I'm happy he got 5 assists. That could have been worse, but he was 0 for 7 from the field last night. That's just, we can't have that. We can't be seeing that from a guy like Cooper. He needs to be hitting his shots. What we've seen it with this team is that when Davon Cooper is hitting his shots, this team wins. They do well. I like Coop. I like what he does as a player. I like that he can get out there, and if he gets hot, he can really just pop threes off continuously. But he's a super senior. He is what he is, but I think as a fan base, we want to see more consistency from him, and we haven't gotten that this year, and I think that's a little bit disappointing. And he's had some really, really awesome games this year. I don't want to take anything away from Coop. He's a very important piece of this team. But I think we had hoped that he was going to gain more consistency this year, and we haven't really seen that. Looking towards the bench, 6 points from the bench, two from Saquon Singleton, 4 from Malik Henry. Again, is what it is there. That's, a little bit less than I think we've been expecting this year. Going to VCU, pretty balanced game. David Shriver ended up being their leading point scorer with 14. He had 12 from Nunn, 11 from Johns, only 9 from Baldwin. But the issue is that Baldwin had 7 assists, but also 9 rebounds. You can't let the guard, especially one as athletic as Baldwin, get as many rebound opportunities as, and 4 of them were offensive rebounds. They had 4 offensive rebounds from Baldwin. That's that's just, that's not something you want to see. That just isn't something that you want to see on a stat sheet. And it's okay to be disappointed with that rebounding performance. It's absolutely warranted to not be happy with that rebounding performance. It absolutely is. Looking to the future here, you have St. Joe's on Sunday at noon. I'll be there covering that game, as well as from press row, as well as then Wednesday, February 1st, February already here. February 1st at home against Massachusetts. UMass comes to town on Wednesday, February 1st at 7. I hope to be there for that game. We shall see, though. We shall see, but I hope to be there for that game, though. Otherwise, yeah, this is kind of just is what it is right now, guys. To the fan base, I think, but as a whole, this has been an up and down year. Obviously, we didn't start so well. We had that pretty good run from, Thanksgiving to New Year's, where we only really kind of had that one loss against ODU, and I don't think too many people were, you can be upset about that loss, but that was a loss that we gave away. We should have won that game, but for the most part, that probably should have been in an 8-game winning streak going into St. Bonaventure. At the way we played all those games, that probably should have been an 8-game winning streak, and it wasn't, and it doesn't feel good right now. We have this win-loss going right now. Beat Richmond, lose to Bonaventure, beat Loishy, lose to St. Louis by painfully blowing that game. You beat Davidson, you lose to George Washington. You go on the road and you finally beat a team. You beat Rhodey on the road. You get stomped by VCU. And I want to be very fair to this. This is really only the second time that Mason has been beaten badly. You could argue third time if you want to argue the Boston College game, but this is really only the third time that Mason, I think, has been beaten by more than 8 points. Yeah, looking at it, this is only the third time we've been beaten by more than 8 points this season in our 9 losses now. Of our 9 losses, that might make it more frustrating. But yeah, it never feels good to lose to these teams. It doesn't feel good to right now be 0-3 against ODU, George Washington, and VCU. Obviously, the Richmond win in there. That feels good. That'll always feel good. So 1-4 against teams from Virginia or the DC area or DC. 2-4, sorry, American. Forgot about you, but you were there too. But we expect to beat American. We expect to beat American every year. They're not good. American is not a very good team. They are not A10 quality. We expect to beat those guys. Yeah, Joe, I guess looking forward. Looking forward to Joe's on Sunday. Again, Sunday game, 12 p.m. USA will be broadcasting the game. It's at home. Obviously things to watch. Joe's have been hot recently. Kind of got to give it to the Hawks here. Joe's has been a little hot recently. Admittedly, the 3 teams they have beaten in conference play are not particularly good. It was LaSalle, UMass, and Loyola Chicago who they beat in a 3-way stretch. But they took George Washington to overtime and only lost by 1 at their place yesterday. So, this is a team that kind of feeling it right now. They have some really good scorers. Eric Reynolds II, know him very well. Very, very good scorer. Cam Brown, another guard who has really kind of taken off. He shoots 45% from 3. He's been really good. If those 2 guys are cooking, not going to be an easy game. I don't want to say that this is necessarily going to be an easy game because the way that Hawks are playing right now might not be. But obviously I think Mason comes out. We'll talk more about this in the preview on Saturday for this game, looking at the Hawks. Yeah, just keep going back to this game here. I am upset. I like this team. I almost love this team. I enjoy following this team. I love it when they win. I love it when they play well. I'm here when they lose. I could have been a student, like so many of our students before, who watched the team for a year and then totally become disinterested, but I've stuck with it here. I love this team. I care for this team. I really desperately want to see our basketball teams can succeed because I believe that's a good thing for the conference is if our basketball teams are succeeding. It's just, it burns me and it burns on me that this team just cannot seem to put it together sometimes. And I think we were sold that we could this year. And it's disappointing when it doesn't happen. And I don't want to blame the players on that. I really don't. But it's disappointing. I feel like the sad parent right now. Like, I'm just disappointed in these guys. You want to see him play better. You want to see him play more consistently. And yeah, but there's a slew of their questions with those programs. I think we forget. We still don't have a permanent athletic director. We've heard nothing about that. And there's not necessarily there's anything wrong with that. It's not a bad thing that we think at least looking over options and seeing who's the guy or girl, whoever it is, I don't think we should mind that, but that's a big question mark for this team in the future. We don't have an AD next year as a season is still questionable. We don't have, Bailey, Cooper, and Singleton are all gone. We have those 3 recruits coming to replace them. Austin Ball, Rich Barron, Des White, that's a 3 for 3. But what happens? Is Oduro coming back? Does Ticket come back? Does anyone transfer out? Does someone, lower down the depth chart decide they want to transfer out? Who leads this team next year if both Ticket and Oduro decide to leave? Questions for this year. When is Ticket coming back? We've heard soon for like 3 weeks now. Is soon Sunday? Is soon next Wednesday? Is soon not until the middle of February? When we're, let's say, what does that mean? When we're playing George Washington at their place on the 15th or at home against Rhode Island on 11th? Is that what soon means? These are fair and legitimate questions to ask, I think. They're not like out there questions. But yeah, this is the second half of the A10 schedule now after Sunday. We'll play 9 games. We'll have 9 more to go. Afterwards, we'll have 5 on the road and 4 at home. Starting with UMass that Wednesday on the 1st of February. And at that point, it's those 7 games in February, and then 2 games in March, and then it's tournament time. It's conference tournament time, and then we'll see where we are. But right now, the vibes are not good, ladies and gentlemen. The vibes do not feel good. Things do not feel good right now. I want to hear from you guys as the fans. I want you guys to comment on this video. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. But yeah, this one hurts. This one hurts a lot because it's VCU, because we got beaten that badly. It's never fun. It's just never fun to lose to this VCU team. It's never fun at all to ever lose to VCU. And, it's got to be a bounce back. This team has to show a bounce back when they come in on Sunday and they play St. Joe's against, like I said, a St. Joe's team that has not been bad in the last, 2.5 weeks of the season. Last time we asked them for a bounce back, it was after the midseason tournament in Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands, and they came back and won 6 straight after that. Not going to happen this time? Probably not. But what I'd like to see is pull string together 2 wins here in conference play by beating Joe's and UMass these next 2 nights, and then hopefully splitting a road game, taking a road game either at Loishai or at Dusky, at Duquesne. That would be nice. I think that's the way we'd want to see this team react. We want to see these guys react. We want to see them show something to us after a game like this, and I hope. I really hope, and I think we will, but I hope more than anything, I hope that we do it on Sunday. We do it. I hope we see the fans out there. It's 12 o'clock noon exactly, so it's before any of the of the football conference final games, before any of that. So really, truly, come out and support this team. They still do deserve it. This is not LaSalle or Rhode Island or something. This is a 12-9 team. They've won some tough games this year. They've played against some decent teams that they've won against, some good teams that they've won against. So yeah, show up, play this team well, support them, play good. Be there as a fan on Sunday. Tickets are not cheap. I'm seeing on ESPN right now, tickets are as low as $14. I'm not sure if they're going to be the best seat, but $14 is not bad in this day and age for a ticket. Especially Sunday. And I'm sure it could get cheaper as we get closer to game time. Come in, watch this team, enjoy this team, see how they play well. Yeah. But, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from the fans. I want to see in comments your reactions to this night, your reactions to this loss. Like I said, I hope we bounce back. We'll have the St. Joe's recap for you guys on preview on Saturday. I'll be here for that. I'll talk about Joe's versus Mason on Sunday. But otherwise, still feeling a whole bunch of things after last night, and there are not a lot of good things. But there's a lot more questions than answers still to this team, and I'm hoping in these next 2 weeks show some stuff and answer some questions. That's the challenge. If we can win these next 4, if we can win 3 of these next 4 games, that's an 8-5. That's an 8-5 conference team. No, that's a team that's avoiding any play-in game. Almost certainly. After those, you've got home games against Rhodey, LaSalle, and Fordham that you should all win, and then probably, arguably, winnable road games against GW and Richmond, and Dayton hasn't looked that hot either since they lost to VCU. So, maybe even there. Who knows? Anything can be possible in this league because that's the A10. That's just how the A10 works. But I believe in it. I'm upset, but I still believe in this team. I still do believe in this coach. I believe in this core group of players. And I hope we succeed as we get going into this final stretch of the season here. And I hope that we play to a point where we can get an invite to something like an NIT. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'd be pretty happy at this point if we did. And I don't think people should be disappointed by that. I believe in this team. I hope we see something from them in these next couple of games. These are now some of the most crucial games of the season coming up these next 2 weeks. And I'll be there. I'll be either there to watch or on my couch and watching, but I will be there to see those games. I hope you guys are too. Hope you guys join me to watch those games. Believe in this team. Believe in this group. Still a long season to go here. 10 games left to go in conference play. Anything can happen still. That's it for now, though. I'm signing off. This has been Joe Szymanski. By George Giant Killer on a victory. Thank you guys so much for those who are new, who are listening and subscribing. Recommend us to your Mason watching friends. Share us to your Mason friends and family. And we'll see you guys Saturday for Joe's preview.